Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer. And what a beautiful day it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the hottest spot in town. I am your host, Sunshine. And of course, today we are talking about things that are so prevalent with us all around the world, as a matter of fact. And I have a dear friend of mine that I tell you, I was so pleased when I reached out to Tuskegee, Alabama, to talk to an advocate ever since I've known him. Mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama. He has done so many things. He's an advocate. He has a show that he does nationally, and it is called You've Got the Power. And I would like to just welcome him in with us today, because there are so many things that we need to talk about that I think that he can enlighten us, because the things that are going on in the world today, it affects all of us. Let me say and welcome him in with me today, Mr. Omar Neal. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sunshine. How you doing this morning?
I am so wonderful, and I tell you, Omar, thank you so much for accepting my invitation, because of the fact, with the person that you are and with the work that you do, I tell you, I could not get away from having you on with me, because that's just the way it has to be, okay? That's just how it is.
Well, I'm always happy to wake up to sunshine, because I know I'm alive.
I tell you, look at him. He's got the jokes going this way. But you know he's not joking. That's right. When you wake up with sunshine, you got the best. And I say that, Omar, because of the fact that, I want to talk to you because I know that you work so much. You are an advocate for equality. You are an advocate for, everything that deal with the political realm that's going on now. With being the mayor of a city that is a really historical city in Alabama, I know that you've got some insight that probably we don't even see. But my question to you, I want to go back and talk about this past weekend, as a matter of fact, because we've been talking about that, the profound message, I think, that was sent by the people of these United States about the protest that went on this past weekend, and it was peaceful all over the world. Tell me, how did you feel about that, and how did it go along in Tuskegee, Alabama?
Well, the No Kings protest was a profound event, obviously, that suggests that in America, we fought a revolutionary war to get away from the notion of kings and dictators and fascism and autocratic leadership. And so it is to restore the genesis of this country in terms of our founding.
Right.
But it's deeper than that, because we've seen a shift away from democratic principles, the Constitution, the rule of law. All of those things have shifted to the point that this country is no longer recognizable. And so it takes a time, even good teams, Sunshine, call a timeout. And that's what this country did on this past weekend.
Right.
It called a timeout. Now, there's a difference between a movement and people in motion, right?
Exactly.
So if we just do it for one day and show up with over 7 million people or thereabout coming out expressing their displeasure with the trajectory of this country, if we just keep there and people don't do something after that,
I agree.
Then that day is an activity in futility, right?
I agree.
And so it's not about just protest. Protest is just bringing attention to something, galvanizing like minds and allies to work towards an end. But the question is, what is the end, and how do we get there?
When you said something that was really profound, and I want to go back and touch that again. If we came out in millions this past Saturday, we cannot do that and stand still. what is the next move? We made a message. I mean, the message was, I mean, you couldn't overlook the message that was given, that the people of these United States are really unhappy all over the world. But with that being gone now, about a week away, what would you think would be the next step, Omar, that we could really continue to keep the momentum going, because we see the things as they are, and it is unbelievable. It's despicable. How is it now? What is the next step that we take? What would you think?
Well, it's a plethora of things that must be done. One is we must recognize that we cannot use old tactics to
Right.
deal with this current situation and regime, if you will. So we have to evaluate where the pain points of the individuals who are orchestrating and advancing this agenda of moving away from a democratic nation to a more authoritarian nation. So
Right.
the question is, where are the pain points? Now, we do recognize that money talks and everything else walks, right?
Yep.
And so we have to be able to withdraw our financial resources from those who are advancing this agenda, and I think that will have some bearing. And I say it from that vantage point because I think maybe a year or so ago, Sunshine, I may have said that we need to just vote, and I may have said, well, okay, not just vote. We need to appeal to our elected officials, and if that didn't work, we need to go to the courts.
Right.
None of those work for us now because they have all been co-opted
Right.
and hijacked, right? And so now the thing that we can do is to be intentional about how we spend our dollars, and not to advance or somehow uh, benefit the people who are working antithetically to the
Right.
interests of the people. I'm not speaking just for Black people, although
Of
we
course
know
not.
if America gets a cold, that means we got pneumonia as Black people, right? But
Right.
but 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 I'm talking about this whole notion of preserving the union, preserving this country, and espousing its constitutional mandates.
Right.
That is fundamental to what it is, and that should not be partisan.
I agree.
The fact of the matter is, we have become such a so hyper partisan that we will go along to get along, just to be a part of an organization, rather than to speak not wrong or right, not a left or right, but wrong or right, which
Absolutely.
is where we need to be. But somehow we have gotten caught up in this cycle of just doing things because it's the party line and towing the
Exactly.
party line, and that's antithetical to democracy.
I agree. I agree. When you said the fact that we sometimes, as we can see that the things that I see, Omar, where is I feel, now this is just my personal opinion, is it because of with all of this rhetoric that's going on, that's the stripping away of everything with the DEI, and want to say that's only for the Black people? When you said that, that was so right, that it's not. When they want to take away all of the history from the Black people, but everything, it seems as if it is pointed or directed toward our community. What is it? Is there a fear for a lack of control because of the minority-ship that's changing?
Mhm. I think it's all of the above.
Okay,
One is, Black history is American history,
that's right.
and so we cannot separate the history of the people who built this country or contributed greatly to the building of this country.
Right.
So when we speak of that, we need to be clear that it is not relegated to Black people. Everyone has been the beneficiary of Black contributions over the
Right.
years, since
I agree.
we've been right. And so when we think about that, I think the part that disturbs me the most is that when people choose to stay asleep, antithetical to being awake, staying woke, right?
Uh-huh.
They tend to not be aware, because when I'm asleep, I don't know what's happening around me,
I got you.
right? So to be awake is to be aware of your surroundings and to be
Mm-hmm.
engaged. And so what we have come to realize is that people cannot manipulate you. They cannot control you. They cannot use you for their interests if you are awake,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why it's important that we stay awake, we stay woke. Now, let me also say this, because you mentioned the fact that somehow, why are people in such a desperate, uh, operating on such a desperate space,
Right.
or in a desperate space? And yes, there is a shifting of demographics that's taking
Yes, it
place. You
is.
alluded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is somewhere in the next 20 years, there will not be a white majority
That's
in this
right.
country. Now,
That's right.
that doesn't mean that blacks will be a majority. It
Mm-hmm.
just will mean that whites will not be
I
the
agree.
majority, and that we will have a greater distribution of demographics in this country, and
Absolutely.
that frightens some people. You see, there's a sense of entitlement
Mm-hmm.
that people who have experienced certain privileges, right, over years and years and centuries, now are seeing that being jeopardized based on the shifting demographics.
Right.
And so what they believe, and as I just kind of uh, analyzed it over the years, what they believe is that they have to create a system that works for people when they are in the minority now.
Uh-huh.
A democracy says the majority rules.
That's
So
right.
now we have to shift the system, um, co-opt the levers of power, put them in a place by which they can be used for people who are now classified as the minority,
Oh,
in
wow.
preparation for the inevitability of their minority
Exactly.
status.
When you said that there's a fear there, I mean, what is the when you say? I think when the power is shifted, but with the things how they're happening, Omar, why is there, from your personal opinion, that there are so
Mhm.
many things? It's so directed at people of color, even with ICE. Why is it so that it's directed at people of color? And I mean, and you cannot say that everybody can't see it, because if they are, then they're pretending to be blind, because we can see it as well. I do not understand it. What bothers me is the fact that you also said something about we know what's going on, but we tend not to stay woke. Because when you are asleep, you don't know what's going on. But why is it that some of us pretend and will also say, well, oh, that's not happening. Well, I'm just going to stay low so I can keep mine. But with what's going on, it's going to affect everybody, whether you address it or not. Do you see the narrative I'm putting there because of what you just said? And I want to find out your opinion on that.
Let me say this, Sunshine.
Uh,
A person by the name of Neal Fuller said a statement that is probably one of the most profound statements I've ever heard. And he said this. He said, if you don't understand racism, then anything else you think you understand will only serve to confusion.
amen.
And and what I have come to realize is that many people have not really truly understood that this country was based on the premise of white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
That there is this level of hierarchy in the human hierarchy,
Mm-hmm.
by which people who are classified as whites are supreme in that hierarchy, and that there are people who are considered brown and black,
Right.
who are considered less than in the hierarchy of the human value system established through a racist
Right.
ideology. And so what we have to realize is that the fear is that somehow my whiteness will no longer be uh, uh, valued to the point that I get privileges
Okay.
that I believe I'm entitled to,
Okay.
right? So this notion of meritocracy and people, Dr. King said, I would love to live in a country where my 4 little children would not be judged by the color of their skin,
By
but
the
by the content
of their
of their character,
character.
right? Right.
Right.
That concept, which is what we should espouse,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, is fearful to people because the color of one's skin has been a kind of ticket to a more advanced existence in this country. And
Mm-hmm.
if that ticket is taken away, and that people have to compete on a level playing field,
Mm-hmm.
then they they people who are classified as white, and this is not all people who are classified as white,
I agree.
but we're speaking generally, right? Will feel that maybe they don't compete at the same level. Let's just think about what is happening with the
Mm-hmm.
DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, the point of the matter is when you have, through law, subjugated and relegated people to second-class citizens, denied them opportunity based on skin color, and then try to correct that by having intentionality about it being included, and then now you say that's no longer needed, then what we're saying is that we want to maintain a system of white supremacy regardless of whether or not a person should be in a position or not. Let me say this:
I tell you what,
300,000.
Omar, you hold that thought right there, Omar, because I want to get every bit of it. We got to run and take a break, but we're going to come back and talk more with the mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama, Mr. Omar Neal. And I want you to be a part of this conversation as well, ladies and gentlemen. You can do that. You know the number, 850-432-7768. These are the topics that we need to talk about and keep it top of mind right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
At FPL, we plan for storm season all year long. We're strengthening poles to better withstand severe weather. We're clearing lines to improve resiliency, and we're constantly training teams to act at a moment's notice, because we're always working, always preparing. So when storms do hit, you can count on us. FPL, working for you every single day.
Sonia Bay's Botanicals is a local wellness boutique that specializes in infused fruit juices, medicinal herbal tea remedies, clean hair and body care, and herbal infused sea moss gels, which can be purchased 1 for $25 or 2 for $40. This sea moss contains 92 of the body's 102 essential minerals used to increase energy, relieve pain and inflammation, and improve blood pressure and more. From parasite cleanse to detox and weight loss to blood sugar control, Sonia Bay's Botanicals has a natural solution for you.
I'm Emily Echeverria, Marketing Communications Director for Council on Aging of West Florida and the host of Coming of Age. Watch our show to find out what we're doing for our seniors and their families, and hear from area experts and local business owners about their programs and services. Want to help? Find out how you can work with us to bring a better future to our seniors. Watch Coming of Age, 3:30 p.m. Wednesdays, only on Blab TV.
And welcome back to this Thursday edition of Sunshine's Corner as we travel all over the world. When it comes to gathering the right information that should be shared with our community, this is where you'll find it right here. We tackle those conversations that are difficult to have, but you can freely have them here because we all are in the same spot when we're trying to get knowledge so that we can do the things together and work forward being better. And I'd like to say to Omar Neal, I'm so glad that you're with me. I got to bring him back so he can finish that point that he was making, because he was on it about DEI. And let's welcome back Omar Neal with us from Tuskegee, Alabama.
Hey,
Yes.
I was saying as we went into the commercial break that maybe there are people who may not be aware that in the last, since this current administration took office,
Right.
over 300,000 African American women who work for the federal government lost jobs.
Exactly.
During that same period, over 360,000 white men gained government jobs,
Exactly.
with about 160 white women who gained jobs. So that was a shift. Now, why is that important? One is because of segregation over the years, many people could not get into the private sector. They could not gain any leverage for advancing in the private sector, and there was no mandate for the private sector to be fair with people of color.
Right.
So the government was the place that we went where there at least was a modicum of fairness. And so we went into the post office systems, the VA hospitals, the different Department of Education, and all of these different departments, Health and Human Resources, and all of these departments around this country. And we were able to advance in those areas because there were mandates of fairness and equity that was rooted in those experiences. When you take those people out, then you technically reduce the economics in the Black community.
Right.
You think about the middle class came out of federal and state government employment in the Black community.
Exactly.
And so when you extract that, and it's another thing that I think the elephant in the room is that attacking Black women, which was the most vocal when it comes to the opposition of this current administration.
Exactly.
Is kind of a retaliatory measure to let you know that we're going to get you back for whatever you did in terms of your advocacy against me. And so therefore we're going to attack you. And so it's almost that petty when you look at the different attorney generals around this country that brought charges. Those people are now being attacked. And when you look at even the Black Supreme Court justice being attacked, I mean, there is no area by which Black women are not being attacked now. And it's because one is Black women are the most powerful group in this country of Democrats, in the demographic space that is clear on what America should be, and have given themselves permission to speak up for what's right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so Black women have been attacked for that reason, and they realize that unless you are a threat, then you are not a target.
Exactly.
So whenever you are a target, do know you are considered a threat. And Black women, as they see it, is the greatest threat to this transfer of power from the people to dictatorship, authoritarianism, and fascism.
I agree. One day we got to talk. I'll let you know how I understand that, because I stand in those shoes. We've got a caller on the phone. I think they want to say something. I didn't know we were going to be able to do this, but we will, Omar. Let's see what we have this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
I want to ask the mayor a question. This morning I was listening to the radio, and Mr. Andrew Young was speaking, and he was talking about how important it was back in the 50s when the churches opened up the doors to allow people to come in together, galvanize together, come up with a plan to do what they needed to do to stand up for themselves. And with all the things that's going on, do he feel like maybe the next step would be for the churches to do that same thing again, get together, open these doors up, let all the churches get together and, and come up with this plan on how we're going to stand up together and make those next steps to make sure that we can take care of ourselves.
Okay, I think we're going to allow Omar to answer that. Could you did you hear that whole question, Omar?
Absolutely, I heard it, and a very profound question and statement that was attached to the question. Let me say this: yes, historically, the church has been kind of a refuge for people to come to large protests against injustices, right? However, the church is not the same church as was in the civil rights movement. The church oftentimes have become very assimilated into the system. They have received all kinds of financial benefits through government, and created some pause for them presenting themselves in an advocate position. That some of them say they can't do it because of, the 501c3 status, that they can lose their nonprofit status, but we know that that's not always the case, because the white evangelical Christian group can advocate, but they have not lost their status, right? So you cannot say that, but I think it's fear, and fear has a way of holding you hostage on I Can't plantation, and that's fear from the leadership. And when you have a scared leader, then you have to have a scared people to follow a scared leader, because the pace of the leader always determine the pace of the pack. And so we have to have people who are courageous. And to be courageous, let me say this, don't mean that their danger does not lurk. I mean, in fact, if there's nothing dangerous about what you're doing, then you don't have to be courageous. There's no requirement to be courageous. Courage means that you act appropriately in the face of fear. And we got to get to a point where we are so courageous, and that our desire to be free is greater than the oppressor's desire to oppress us.
Oh, I love that one. We got another call for you, Omar. I mean, you're coming on with me today. You got them ringing. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine.
Good morning.
You all were talking about fear. I opened my dictionary. I have a Random House College dictionary, and I opened it. Brother Omar, I hope and pray that one day we can share another Thelma Roby meal. I opened up my dictionary, and it opened up to negrophobe. And I wasn't looking for it. I just cracked my Bible. Negrophobe is a person who fears or strongly dislikes people of color. And what Brother Omar was talking about is right now the systems of government are trying to be arranged identically to what happened in South Africa with apartheid. There's a word in that same category. It's called, we all know what a pedophile is. Well, the word says negrophile. A negrophile is a Caucasoid or other non-Negro who is especially sympathetic to Negroes and Negroism. And Negroism is the doctrine or advocacy of civil rights and civil liberties for Negroes equal to those enjoyed by others, especially whites. Now, Negro, when Martin Luther King and coming up during the civil rights movement, that was a term that was referenced. So, but now it's derogatory. But we need to understand that there is a system of apartheid that is about to be set up so that the minority will be able to control the majority of people who are just of color. Again, there's been too much race mixing to do this, and they're going to eventually find out. That's all I got to say this morning. Brother Omar, I love you, man, and I hope we can get together and have another meal.
Okay.
Thank you, Kingdom Walker. And Omar, you want to address those points that he was making about the dictionary and all about the things that are parts of being set up to affect the Black community?
Yeah, well, part of this is none of this is new. I mean, everything that we are experiencing is a continuation of the system of subjugation, system of racism, system of divide and conquer.
Right.
I mean, all of these things, because race is a man-made construct.
Right.
It designed to look at characteristics that are easily identifiable, and to create systems to disfavor people based on color, and that's what has happened. Now, one of the things that I don't want us to overlook is that even white people are the victims of racism as well in this regard, or
Right.
classism, or the caste system, because all white people are not doing well. All white people are not rich. You see, but there is a small percentage of people, about 1%, that controls the vast majority of resources in this country. And they have to have the people who have not fighting against each other so that they can maintain their dominance in economic and political and other spaces. And so that is the greatest fear, is that we will wake up one day and see where it's not working for any of us, and that we join forces to create
Right.
a more fair, equitable society.
Omar, I mean, there are so many things now that's going on, and it's so open when we talk about racism. And as you were speaking, I want to say this to our viewers today. The reason why this is top of mind now, the reason why this topic is being so spoken so often, is because of it's being shown in so many ways that that's what's going on. You said earlier that this is not just something that's new to us. This is a continuation of what we as a people have already experienced. And I have said this on numerous occasions, that it's not all white people that are looking for that dictatorship. But the ones that are really pushing it down, and what I see, and with me, what I have found out, that there were people that I thought were not are. There are people that were even on my social media platforms that I have to work because of the show that I do, that I find out. All you have to do is read and see the statements. You can look at a person's character and tell the ones that are not just talking the talk, but really meaning it from their hearts. We've got to run and take another break, Omar, and I want to come back because there's another point I want to add to that, and I want to address that because of the fact we're talking about it, and I think we need to talk about it more. I tell my viewers every day, if we can come to the table with an open mind and not keep it shut in, we can come to a better conclusion. That's why we talk about everything that needs to be heard right here on Sunshine's Corner. We'll be back with more in just a short.
You finally found the perfect car in racing blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Keep going, more.
Are you looking for local and regional sports highlights and insights?
Join us for the Saturday Morning Sports Blitz every Saturday morning at 9 Central for a wrap-up of high school games and upcoming college matchups.
Plus interviews this fall with high school coaches and college insiders.
Join us right here live every Saturday at 9 a.m. on Blab TV for the Saturday Morning Sports Blitz.
We'll see you then.
So you've got to come join us November 12th and 13th at the Pensacola Little Theater for this year's EntreCon. And our theme is Embracing Collective Growth. It's a great opportunity for everybody to come together, whether you're a business leader, a business owner, or new to the working world. There's something for everyone. And we've got some great speakers coming from all over. You'll walk away with some great lessons learned and some great connections that you've made with others. So please come join us in November, the 12th and 13th, Pensacola Little Theater for EntreCon.
The Emerald Coast Utilities Authority state-of-the-art materials recycling facility processes recyclables for communities throughout the region, lowering need for more landfills. This highly efficient recycling service accepts glass, paper, cardboard, plastics, aluminum, and more. But we need your help. Please make sure your recyclables are clean of garbage, food, and liquids. Also, please remember that plastic shopping bags, foam products, or yard waste are not recyclable. To learn more, go to livegreenecua.com.
And welcome back to this Thursday edition of Sunshine's Corner, where we're talking about the topics that are affecting us daily, and that's growing daily. I'm so pleased to have with me from Tuskegee, Alabama, from the nationally syndicated show, You've Got the Power, Mr. Omar Neal. And Omar, we were talking about the things that, the expressions of things and how it's happening. And I want to get your opinion on it, because there are so many things that we see on a daily basis. And I don't know about you, but when you find out these things because of where we have already come from, that's trying to take us back to that point, it really troubles my mind that people actually think that it's only going to, all these things that are changing are only going to affect the Black community, which some of this is going to affect everybody when it comes to Medicaid, when it comes to all of the healthcare issues that's being discussed, even with the SNAP programs that are being taken away. We are the lesser of who use those entities for the subjects that we're talking about. How do you feel about that?
You know, sometimes there's a saying that the person will cut off their nose to spite their face.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that they are willing to be collateral damage for a system that says that it's going to attack people who they have classified as different from them, or somebody who's taking something from them. See, they have led many people to believe that any Black progress means that somebody white lost something. Not that people can make contributions, they can advance, and that everybody that lifted, they said the rising tides lifts all ships. That concept is antithetical to the notion that this zero sum game, that says that if you win, therefore I lost. Right? And so what has happened, they have convinced people broadly that any advancement of people of color means the disadvantage to people who have been classified as white. And until we deal with that, then we will continue to be in the cycle. The other thing is that, and you mentioned this, Sonshine, I want to harken back to what you said about people that you thought were for equality and justice and all of that, and then you come to find out that maybe they're not, based on some posting and some things. Let me say this, we're not dealing with people, we're dealing with a system. Now, people support systems, people prop up systems, but we're talking about a system that in and of itself creates conditions by which people are subjugated, relegated to second-class citizens.
Right.
And that's the system that we are dealing with. Now, we have some Black people who have the delusion of inclusion, right? And think that they are immune from, you talked about the fact that, you know, you got people who have, who are white, who will lose their Medicaid and
SNAP and everything else.
Everything else, right? Yeah, that's true. But they too have the delusion of inclusion. When it's talking about creating this system, it is not for white people. It's for a very small group of
Yes.
people who are elite people. And so for people to think that somehow you in the club because of your skin color, it's not true.
Okay.
You have the delusion of inclusion as well. And so this is about creating a system. We call it an egalitarian system, a system of fairness and equity that each individual can be the true and perfect manifestation of God's intent for them.
Right.
And that the system does not inhibit them from evolving and making contributions. If you look at all of the contributions that African Americans have made over the period of time of our sojourn here in the United States, the United States would not be the United States if it were not for Black people.
I agree.
Right? And our contributions have advanced this country to the most powerful country on the planet. But it was on the backs of people who look like you and I.
Exactly.
And so, and to which we have never received adequate compensation for. And so, when we talk about wealth disparities and all of that, it is based on the fact we had a system that extracted our substance without compensation called slavery. And then our ability to transfer wealth to our posterity was hampered by a legal system that said that you can work those people for free and use the money to build your wealth. And until we address that, then we continue to go into these cycles.
I agree with you. We got another call on, I thought we had one, but I guess they left. But you said something there that's powerful, that because there are so many things that I have experienced and yet experiencing when it comes to that equality, when it comes to certain things. And it can be denied in your face, but you see what's really happening. And what bothers me to the core is the fact that it's denied, but yet being done. And I am a very vocal woman. I believe that, and I think I fall in that category because of the fact that I believe in speaking the truth. And I believe that anything that we are dealing with should be able to talk about, but be honest about it. What has happened to the American people, even some people in our community, Omar, are yet, even for some of those who supported him, I think they're seeing now what they thought is not going to happen. That small amount of people that's going to be affected by taking all this away, you're not in that category. Do you understand the question, the statement that I'm going toward?
I understand it, clearly. Let me say this. Dorothy, we no longer in Kansas.
Right.
And I think people need to understand that this is not normal, what we experience. And we've had some really normal situations that were not, equal, but this is far beyond that. What we're experiencing is the extreme. But let me harken back to what I said. This didn't start just yesterday. This has been decades of planning and organizing and positioning people to do this. The first thing they did was they had what they call Doge, right?
Right.
What really was bulldoge, right? They bulldozed the government so that they could dismantle it, to render it helpless to defend its principles. And then once they did that, then they inserted loyalists, people who had no principles, only sycophants who would acquiesce to anything that was asked of them to comply, with anything that was asked of them, because they were placed there to do that.
Right.
And they know it, right? Now you say, well, why there are consequences? Yeah, well, there are consequences. Yeah. If the president chose not to pardon them in advance, right?
Exactly.
But we know that everybody gonna be pardoned, right? So when he leaves, there's gonna be a clean slate because they have done what they were assigned to do. which was to dismantle this government, to restructure it in a way by which you have permanent underclass and permanent superiority of people who are classified this way.
I agree. And you know, when you say the ones that are underclass, and that speaks volumes right there within itself, that you would rather persons who are overly qualified, I mean so qualified for these positions that have been taken away, and to add somebody that can barely pronounce the position that they're holding, I think it's absolutely, I can't think of a word that would explain what I really feel about that. Even when I come to the fact of, I gotta say this, Omar, because it breaks me up when I hear it. When I hear Kennedy, when he's talking about the things, even with shots, the medications, the vaccines that we need for our children and all of this, I cringe just to hear his voice. I cringe because of the fact of the lack of knowledge that he's using in regard to when I hear him, when they're questioning him, when they have him on the floor with questions, he does not know anything. He is not equipped, especially to be over something that important to the American people today. How do you, I mean, come on. Think about children now that the fall has come around. It's slowly creeping up. You don't really have to give your child a vaccination, but I can remember even when I was a child just yesterday, when my mother used to, when mother used to make sure that we had to go get those vaccines before we could go to school, because that kept us even more healthy. And now, even with COVID, you don't really need that. We got to run the break, but I want you to come back and address that, because I have a doctor coming on next week that's going to talk about that, and it's so important. And what do you think that why they're doing even that part right here on Sunshine's Corner? Stay close. We've got more for you.
My name's Kelly McLeod. I'm the owner of Bella Magazine. Bella is a source of uplifting and inspiring content for the women of Pensacola. I think the magazine is just so thoughtfully done. There's a lot of attention to detail. The stories are really good.
You've got seriousness, you've got fun, education, fashion. It just encompasses everything.
Women are multidimensional, and so is Bella.
From the efficiency of American natural gas and the dependability of nuclear power, to the strength of Florida's sunshine and the flexibility of advanced battery storage systems, we leverage a diverse mix of energy sources to power our growing state, ensuring reliable, low-cost power for your home or business whenever you need it. FPL, working for you every single day.
Adventure, fun, and connections is all right here in your backyard with Pensacola Parks and Recreation. Bike the trails and feel the rush. Come to our senior programs for ages 50 and older. Learn new skills and make new friends. Tee up at Osceola Golf Course and paddle into nature with Bayview Outdoor Pursuits. Pensacola Parks and Recreation. Discover more, play more, live more.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. Do you have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking? And I think that's a huge difference, and a lot really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quince Dieter, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to the most inspirational, the most open forum talk show on the Gulf Coast. That is Sunshine's Corner. I want to thank you for being with me today, as we always take the leap and talk about those different conversations that I think that needs to be talked about even more often. We're going to run back to Tuskegee, Alabama, and talk to the mayor there, Mr. Omar Neal, and he is the host of the nationally syndicated show, You've Got the Power. And so pleased that he took the time to join me today so we can talk about things that are really, really prevalent in our communities across these United States. Omar, I want you to go back and touch that when I was talking about the fact with the DEI and all the things that are affecting us that's so right in our faces, but yet you're supposed to be so lacking that you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm just going to do this because of, but you're taking away, I'm doing it for you this way. You understand what, because that bothers me a lot. What do you feel about that, Omar? Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at, you mentioned Kennedy. And, you know, not being a physician, not being a public health expert,
right,
being at the head of our health. And you mentioned the fact of vaccines and immunization for children. If you notice that there's a resurgence in measles, something that we didn't even think about. All right. So if you think about the fact, let's harken back to the first Trump administration when COVID took hold and over 1 million people died. And that's not something that we even talk about. Over a million American citizens died. They were told to take bleach and all kinds of nonsense to just crazy stuff. And it was a denial that it was as bad as it was, although we found out later that they knew that it was bad. They just wanted to not tell the people the truth.
Exactly.
Right. So I think what we're doing here is that there is, and I don't know exactly the motives behind it, but I do know that the consequences for this kind of pervasive ignorance associated with vaccines and public health can be an existential threat to this country. And that's why it's important for those who know to speak up, because once you know, then you owe, right? We need physicians, we need public health people to be vocal about what is happening to us when we abdicate our responsibility to take care of our children through vaccines and through other healthcare measures. So we need more people to be vocal and public about their opinion there, people who know. But let me also say, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was leaning over to get ready to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, no, but the other thing is, let me say this, it's just, you know, if you notice that we're talking about, it's a plethora of things. You got the healthcare issues, we got education, Department of Education that's being dismantled. So they're taking away books and revision history, revising history, and not allowing Black history to be taught or even uttered in certain spaces without some kind of consequences, negative consequences. All of those things lead to the notion that what we're trying to do is restructure a system that gives a narrative that what we told you about white superiority was true, right? And so you and others are the antithesis of that, and so we can't tell them about your story. We can't tell you about your contribution, right? Because that contradicts the notion of white supremacy.
Absolutely.
But let me say something about history. One is history. You can say whatever you want to say, but history is just a recording of what transpired. You know, we talk about oftentimes in Black History Month that we talk about slavery. Well, slavery is not Black history. Overcoming slavery was Black history.
Exactly.
Black folk were the victims of a slave system, right? So it ain't our history. White people need to take ownership of that history, right? That's white history, slavery, because the colonizers and the people who created the slave construct were not people of color.
Not at all.
So that's their history. So it's important that they understand their history, and Black people need to understand our history, our contributions, our failings. It is an accurate assessment of what transpired so that we can do better in the future. And if you don't know, then you want corrected. And let's say those people who fail to remember their past are doomed to repeat it. If America is going to be this more perfect union, if we're going to be the shining light on the hill, if we're going to do that,
I agree.
Then we have to confront our past.
No doubt. Omar, I can't believe that our hour is up because this has been so powerful, so interesting. I tell you, we could do it all over again, but know that as long as I have your number, we are going to stay connected so I can invite you back because the conversation, I love the facts and your delivery of the message is absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Let me say thank you for taking the time to join me this morning. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you go on the website and just key in, you got the power, you got the power. I mean, Omar, I just wanted to I'm down to my last minute. Just give us your last words before you get out of here today.
I want to thank you, Sonshine, for what you do, what you've done for many, many, many years. When I first met you, you have been a sunshine and a dear friend of mine. So I appreciate you for that. I for 34 years on radio, I left my audience with 2 words. I say, remember that I love you with a perfect love. But more importantly, remember this, you got the power. That's what I say today.
Thank you. And you know, Omar, you're going to hear this because when you hear my closing, you're going to say, I walked away with it. It is time for me to get out of here, but I want to leave you as I do every single day. Never, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I'll guarantee you this, that you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow for another day of sunshine, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. I want you to keep shining while I'm gone. Don't forget, now this show will be replayed again this afternoon at 6 o'clock. So if you missed it this morning, make sure you tune in at 6 o'clock this afternoon. And guess what? So you can get the power right here from Sonshine on Sonshine's Corner. Have a great day. And thank you so much, Omar. I will call you later today. Sonshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.